Hi everyone, this video will introduce you to the wide range of tools you can create with H5P. H5P is a completely free online tool. It now exists on many LMS systems such as Moodle, Canvas, Blackboard, and others, or you can create directly on the H5P website. There are a ton of things you can do with H5P. You can record interactive video, you can design interactive puzzles and memory games, you can create interesting and substantive formative assessments, and you can use it to embed content in other tools. So let's take a look at H5P. Here we are on the H5P main website. I want to draw your attention to the fact that you're on h5p.org. This is the free and independent website that allows you to create usable interactive content that you can then embed on your school's LMS system. I draw your attention to that because there is also a service offered, H5P as a service, that can host interactive content for those who want to use H5P without having to set up and maintain their own website or hosting solution. Many of the LMS systems such as Moodle or Canvas or Blackboard already have a plugin for H5P. This is if your school doesn't have an LMS system that has a plugin for H5P. You may want to use this with your AVLI summer course. If you do, just get in touch with your course facilitator and we'll walk you through that process. For now, we're just going to start with this regular h5p.org and create interactive content that you can get an embedded code and you can embed that in your school's LMS system. Since I've already created a user account, I go ahead and log in, and when I do, I am taken to my H5P home site that includes all the content I've created. And as you see, I haven't created any content yet. We're going to do that together, and I'm going to show you a simple example of what might be created on H5P. There is a huge variety of tools that you can create with H5P. I'll just give you the tip of the iceberg and show you one quickly, and then you can explore more on your own. When you create content on H5P, you just go to the contents page and you ask to create new content, and that's what we're going to do right now. And you'll see that what opens up is a long list of the variety of tools. Just to scan down, you can read these on your own, but this is the huge variety of choices that you have with H5P. H5P always puts the last activity that you created at the top, just in case you want to develop favorites. And I think we're going to use this one again, and I'm going to select drag and drop. And then we'll create an activity for students with the drag and drop function on H5P. When the activity creation pages open up for you, usually on H5P, the first thing that they want you to do is create a title for your activity. So I've got a drag and drop that's going to pertain to the most valuable asset for teachers. So I'm going to call my drag and drop most valuable asset. Since this is a drag and drop exercise, you'll need a picture on which students can drag and drop either objects or text. So I'm going to add a picture, and you'll see that what H5P does is automatically accesses your computer's memory bank to find out if you have any images to choose from, and in fact I do. And I'm going to go ahead and choose this empty desk because it kind of looks like, except for it's a clean desk, it kind of looks a little bit like my desk I'm using right now. So I'm going to select that. I have an opportunity to edit the image if I'd like, but I'm going to go ahead and use the whole thing. The size is fine with me. Actually, the default size mechanism in H5P is really predictably excellent, so I don't feel like I need to change any of that. I can scan down. How do I want my behavioral settings to work? I think I'll go ahead and say yes. Sure enough, I'd like my students to be able to retry, give 1 point for the whole task. That sounds nice. I'll go ahead and do that. Enable full screen. I can choose to do that or not. I'm going to leave that option off for now and just leave it at the default. And I think everything else looks pretty fine to me. All of these things will enable me to have an embed button and allow a download later if I need it. So that all looks good, and I'm going to move on to the next stage, which is to create the task. Okay, great. So you'll see I've got my image, my background image here, and I'm ready to create a drop zone. Drop zone is just what is called the area in which you're going to ask your students to drag and drop whatever images or whatever text you provide for them. So this is the drop zone. And if you get confused, just notice you're always given a little bit of list of to-do items. You're going to have more than one drop zone. We're just going to have one. We're going to bring it down and we're going to drop it right onto our picture. You'll have a chance later to resize that however you'd like, but for now, you just want to let the system know that you're going to have a drop zone that's pretty much going to be in the center of your background image. How much background opacity do I want? For the purposes of just designing it, we can go ahead and ascribe a certain percentage so we can kind of see through that drop zone. For now, I'm just going to give it about a 30% so I can kind of see through it. I'll probably go back at the end and actually remove that entirely, but we're going to leave it at 30% for right now. We need a label that will enable us to tell later which items are dragged and dropped correctly, and I'm going to go ahead and call that desktop. See if there's anything else I want to change. Yes, this drop zone can contain only one element. Make sure there's only one correct answer for this drop zone. You want to make sure if you check this that you go back at the end when you're editing and you select the correct element. We will be doing that as well. Okay, this looks all pretty good for now. I'm going to give a title to my drop zone, desktop, and we're going to say done. You see that that opacity has worked out to be about the same. I'm going to go ahead and resize that and do so just as you would resize a picture. I can move it around if I'd like. Let's make it just a little bit larger. I can provide instructions in a text format. I'm going to probably give the instructions to drag and drop onto the very desktop. So I think that looks large enough. You want to make sure that you leave room to create images or text to drag and drop from your background picture. Once you do this, you can click on the outside of it and you'll see that you just now have a very clean drop zone and you can start adding images to drag and drop. The prompt that I intend to give my students with this exercise is what is the most valuable asset that a teacher has. So I want to select some images, including the correct one for them to select from to drag and drop. So again, if I ask for an image, it will open up my computer's image set and I can choose. How about an apple? An apple is an important ingredient for a teacher, for a teacher's process. It's not the most important ingredient, but why not include that? So I'm going to select apple and it uploads my image. If I want to edit the image, I can. I think I'll go ahead and edit it and remove just a little bit of the background. And I can do that by selecting the crop function. And this is just like cropping a selfie or any picture that you would. And that looks pretty good to me. I'll go ahead and save that. And now I have my apple there. You want to put an alternative text in case there's a glitch and the browser it can't display the apple, and also in case someone wants to hover above it, if their pointing device will allow them to read what the image is. Background opacity for this in particular is 100. That's fine. Select the drop zones. I want them to put it in the desktop, which is what I labeled my drop zone, and I'll say done again. Now you'll see I've got my apple there. I want to move it outside my drop zone so that they'll have to actually drag it into the drop zone to choose. And now if you'll give me a minute, I'll add a few other images, including the correct one for this particular writing prompt. Okay, so you'll see I've got several images up here for my students to choose from, and I might want to give them a little bit of a writing prompt. I could have put text in here to drag and drop, but you can also put text to give some instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and when we come back, you'll see how that works, and then we'll move ahead with the process of ascribing which of these is the correct images. Okay, so I dragged a text box and I just put some general instructions into this text box, and you notice that it's outside of the drop zone, so it doesn't conflict with the image or the background image at all. And I can look at my instructions as is last, edit your drop zone again, and check off the correct answers. So if you go to your drop zone, you'll see that you have this bar at the top, and I'm going to ask to edit. and you'll see that it automatically allows me to select the correct elements, which is the correct answer. So I was just going to ask you, what is the most valuable asset a teacher has? And the answer is clock. Now I have an opportunity to reframe my background opacity again if I'd like to do that. And I think I'll go ahead and set that maybe even just a little bit lower. You can adjust it in any way you like, play around with it, choose your aesthetics as you will. And just to make sure everything looks tidy here, I think it all looks fine. And I'm going to go ahead and say done. Great. Before you leave, you want to check and see if there's anything else you want to add. As I say again, you can add text, you can make a text choice, you could put titles under all of the pictures. You see that as I scroll across any images I've given titles to, it will pop up. And it all looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and save my work, and then we're done. And you see that I now have content, and it's going to display it, and it'll give me an opportunity to try the exercise myself to see how it works, and to make sure that my students have everything they need and that I'm completely happy with the exercise. If you're using H5P with one of your LMS systems that has the plugin, all you'll need to do is to save your work, and to save and display is usually the feature that is asked for. I know it is on Moodle and Canvas, but here you'll want to embed it if you're using it from the free H5P website. And all you need to do is click this, and you'll be provided with an embed code that will allow you to embed this particular exercise into your LMS system. And you see that it's got advanced features that you can use. You want to speak to your IT people about that. But if you just copy this with Control-C, you can go ahead and take this and you can embed it in your LMS system that you're using in-house. So you will see you've been provided with a warning label, and this is what I alluded to at the very beginning to draw your attention to. There is now h5p.com, which is a hosting site, and you notice that the embed option will be limited soon. So I would like you to go ahead and click Learn More, and you'll be provided with some instructions that you'll want to discuss with your IT representatives at your school. If you want to create individual content and your LMS system does not have the plugin for H5P, in other words, you don't have access to it directly as you might through Moodle or Canvas or Blackboard, you'll want to be hosting any activities that you create on h5p.com, and if you want to see how to get started, all you have to do is click the Learn More button that I just passed, and you'll be able to discuss with your IT representative how this will work for you in-house. But in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration, and please go ahead and experiment with H5P on your own and find out how you can create interactive content with H5P. Thanks so much. Bye.